Target it came out with a really funny, really cool Christmas ad.
Yes,
And we just watched it a minute ago.
we did.
And the discourse online went fucking stupid about this ad
Really? In which way did it go?
in like a thirsty way.
Ah.
People loved this new like sexy Santa,
Okay.
this Chris K character, and I think it's really interesting how like we were just talking yesterday about like how the the sexy burger ads are like falling off.
Yes, 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 indeed.
But now there's almost like a new redefined type of sexy that like is more socially acceptable,
Yeah.
which is really funny. And
Wow.
yeah, they all the comments. I'm just really uncomfortable to say them, but they're all like women and mothers, and I guess a lot of dudes as well, saying like "daddy" and stuff. Just all that kind of stuff. Fuck, that was painful to say. Fuck.
It's okay. You're quoting. You're
Yeah,
not saying
yeah.
yourself. You're
And
quoting.
I quote, yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but but no, the ad went stupid viral
Yeah, sure, sure.
purely just because of like the way the guy looked.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the ad has nothing to it. It's not like a funny ad. It's pure just like sex appeal.
yeah. Oh, I mean, there's an element of humor to it in the sense of like it just flies in the face of like what Santa is.
Yeah.
Whereas actually he embodies that like kind of classic. Well, I don't want to stereotype, but it's like snowy, so it makes you think of that kind of like rugged Alaskan, even Canadian
Yeah.
like dude who's got his pickup or his 4x4 or whatever. You know, he's probably owned some sort of ranch, had some sort of lumberjack type role in his spare time.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a straight man, I can say that's a beautiful, beautiful man that they've used there.
Yeah.
And I think I totally get why that appeals, because Santa is typically also one thing that is key. He's typically a lot younger than the stereotypical Santa. Santa's made out to be about 70, I'd say, and
No,
big.
they've made him glow up.
Yeah,
Like,
they're giving him a glow up.
The Santa
yeah.
glow up is real.
Yeah,
They've made him younger, a lot more in shape, just objectively more attractive.
Yeah.
To men and women. But no, I think like people are in love with this type of attractiveness, and I think there's something in there where like what we thought was hot 10, 15 years ago isn't the hot now.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
Zac Efron in Baywatch was hot. I don't think it is as hot as it is now.
That's a great way of putting it.
Like it's not about like six packs anymore. It's more about like charisma and
Totally agree.
more like personality inclined traits.
I totally agree, and I think weirdly though, I think we've gone a little bit more traditional now in our taste because, like you say, Zac Efron. I mean, look, he got big off High School Musical, right?
Yeah.
That's very much the sort of boy next door, like young floppy hair. But as you say, as he got a little bit older, he did get the six pack, and that was a big part of his appeal.
Yeah.
But what we've just seen, that embodies the traditional kind of like, look, I'm charismatic, but I'm also going to take care of you, sort of vibe, rather than like a teenage heartthrob.
Yeah.
Wow, good point, Abdul.
I think in general, maybe there's something in that where like the general attractiveness, which is good, the general attractiveness has like matured more.
Yeah, I think it's almost like people are now looking. I'm wary of like people, ourselves included, over-analyzing the impacts of the pandemic. But I do wonder if like we just feel a little bit less secure as humans, and people are now looking for things that make them feel a little bit safer, rather than someone to fawn over and someone to be like, oh my God, look at these like boy next door kind of vibes that I think they want to be held. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what people want.
They want to be comforted.
I think so. But and just very, very quickly, another interesting note is that the video you showed me a couple of days ago, which I absolutely loved, which was the reindeer, which was the Norwegian ad.
Yep.
I think it's super, super interesting when you humanize these figures, because let's not forget, growing up or like throughout people's lives, when you've seen Santa, it's almost always like a cartoon version.
Yep.
Right, or at least like you think of the Coca-Cola ads, for example, or you think of like a Santa's grotto. It's like some bloke dressed up. It's never just like a bloke with a beard. Like it's, do you know what I mean?
Caricature.
It's exactly the word I'm looking for. It's a caricature. So to see it embodied in like a regular, well, slightly above regular looking guy, shall we say? Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah, I think that like that whole this is such a niche thing, but I think there's such a gap in the market for that. Is like grabbing conventional or like traditional characters and giving them like a sexy twist.
100%.
So like Santa, like what's next? Like a sexy Grinch, maybe.
Oh wow, yeah,
A
damn.
Mrs. Claus that
Mrs.
looks like
Claus, hell yeah.
I don't know.
Count me in. Elves? Could you get a
You
sexy
know
elf?
what?
You probably could get a sexy elf. You never
We're in
know.
our freaky bag today. No, but yeah, like yeah, I was gonna ask you, but I don't know if it's a good question.
Go
But
on, go on.
what's a good character that could do with a sexy glow up rebrand?
Well, I mean, the immediate one that you think of that's been used many, many years is the Easter Bunny, because of
Mm.
course Playboy decided
Yeah,
to use that kind of like rabbit's head as
yeah,
its pretty much, its central bit of branding.
yeah.
But yeah, what other characters? I mean, to be fair, there still is, like, if you think about Marvel,
Mm,
there is still quite like a sexy element to
yeah,
those characters, I think. I mean, the blokes are all absolutely stacked.
yeah.
The ladies, I mean, one,
Stacked as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Is that a new thing? Is that a term? I don't know. Stacked. Is that? Sorry.
No, no, no. I think the women are stacked as well. Just
Oh,
differently.
sorry. Oh, sorry. Let me clarify. The men are stacked. The women are obviously incredible bodies as well. But there's less. I think there's less. Like, the women don't appear topless in the Marvel
Yeah,
movies,
yeah,
whereas there's heaps of occasions where the blokes will like have a top off or
yeah,
whatever. And of course, I'm not analysing whether that's a good or bad thing. It's just the fact that, to your point of which characters are sexy, I think a lot of it is already out there. The ones
yeah,
that could use a rebrand, I mean, gosh, if it wasn't, I'm surprised people haven't tried to do a sexy heaven and hell thing. I mean,
yeah,
God and the devil, that could
yeah,
be
yeah,
that
yeah.
could be quite
Yeah,
cool.
I was thinking, yeah, like it must be like old like figures ish or like yeah figures from the past almost kind of thing. Like
When you look at like the Greek gods, look at Zeus.
yeah,
He's always got his top off. He's always there with his lightning
and his
bolt and his
bottoms
big.
off.
Yeah, yeah, he is. He's there with his big lightning bolt. That's not a euphemism. I mean, his lightning bolt, and he's there. There's muscle. Yeah, he's always. Yeah, I think there's a lot of that. I think there's
Yeah,
a heck of a lot of
yeah,
that.
and I think yeah, just the shift in quote unquote sexiness is really interesting. That like I feel like this type of character or the character that was sexy Santa is a lot more easier, not easier to cast and more realistic than like fucking shredded 20-year-old Zac Efron
Yeah,
and 18-year-old Justin Bieber.
yeah, you're so right. You're so
And
right.
yeah, I'm glad we've all grown up out of that phase a little bit.
Well, I think also, above all, one thing that we're missing here is that it's also more realistic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember growing up, and I'd look at the cover of Men's Health, and I would look at people like Zac Efron or whoever was, Channing Tatum or whoever
Yeah.
it was that girls liked at that point. And I was like, right, I've got to be that guy. I've got to be absolutely shredded.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like we've just been saying, it's actually just the realistic thing of like, no, you just want to be a strong, charismatic, kind of like leadership figure.
Yeah.
That's what people want.
And I think that there's like a general this is really interesting. I think there's a general like fatigue of the other extreme, which was like the whole like super I don't want to say perfect, but like damn near perfect like bodies and stuff. Like the men with like waxed bodies and six packs, or like the women with like crazy BBLs. That now like we've seen so much of it that now like the pendulum has swung the other way, and we're
Yeah.
like, can I have something normal?
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. You're completely right. There is now a desire for essentially normality, or at least realism. Yeah, and I think it is a good thing,
Yeah.
definitely.
So if you want your brand to blow up, have sexy actors.
That's it.
That's the takeaway.
Tick, sex sells.